Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm joined by the estate agency guru Richard Rawlings, very well-known estate agency trainer from both Britain and also around the world. And he's here today to join me to talk about what is annoying him as a property buyer that you as estate agents out there could learn from so you could be better agents and get more listings. Thanks for joining me today, Richard.
Very welcome, Chris. To be on the sofa is quite a thing.
Thank you for taking the time and trouble to coming up today.
Very welcome.
Now, you're presently going through the process of buying and selling a property. In this video, I'd like to talk about you on the buying side.
Yeah.
And with your insight as a guru and trainer, we can hopefully teach the boys and girls out there in estate agency land a few things.
Yeah.
So what is annoying you through the process with your buyer's hat on?
Yeah, it's really interesting, Chris. I mean, I think every agent should go through the buying and selling process once a year. I mean, we buy and sell a lot. I think we're on our 18th house now.
Wow.
You know, we renovate houses, we sell one, and enjoy each one of them in our own way. But it's interesting. It's only when we're back in the driving seat of being a buyer or being a seller do we realize the opportunities that the agents are missing. You know, I mean, I get some of the things, you know, for example, I mean, the obvious thing, not returning phone calls. You know, we see a property, we phone about it, there's no one there, or you leave a message and no one calls you back. The basic, I don't even train the basics. I think the agent should be doing the basics anyway. I like to...
I'm hearing an awful lot of agents not returning calls.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Rightmove, 25% of Rightmove inquiries are not replied to, apparently. It's crazy now. And that's complacency at the moment, of course, in a strong seller's market. Maybe they feel they don't need to. But then I still get calls from agents. They say, hello, Mr. Roy, are you still looking for a property? I say, oh, yes, have you got one? They say, no, but I just wondered if you're still looking. I thought, well, what a waste of time. So, I mean, the opportunity there is...
You can't have it both ways, Richard. You know.
No, for sure. I want to call me back when I call, but I don't need to be called and asked if I'm still looking when they haven't. What I'm saying is, as a trainer, only ever call someone if you've got something interesting, useful, relevant, meaningful to share with the person that gives them some advantage that they can act on. Otherwise, it's a waste of time for everyone concerned, really.
What else has been knocking you off as a buyer?
Well, ridiculous wording on property details, again, pretty basic. You know, the stairs lead to the first floor.
That's where they normally go to.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. It's called a pleuronasm, apparently. It's some totally unnecessary thing to say. And things like, you know, do I really need to, when I'm reading the details, do I say to my wife, Charlotte, look, this property, there's a double radiator. It's a double radiator. Do I care if it's a single or double? Do I care if it's got any radiators? Is this a proper house going to have heating? You know, I'm not interested in those sorts of details.
What about a low-level WC?
Oh, a low-level WC, very useful if you're particularly short. I'm not the tallest guy.
Okay.
I don't really need a low... What is a low-level? What's the alternative?
A high-level one.
A high-level one. You've got up there.
But I must admit, I haven't seen one for years. You see?
Oh, you mean the high... No.
Oh.
Does it matter?
No.
We've got both, actually. Yeah. But, you know, does it matter? And who cares who made the boiler? At property details stage, I only need to know 4 things. Where is it? What's it like? How much is it? And who do I call? If it ticks all those, I'm going to make an appointment to see, and that's the purpose of those property details.
Do you think the purpose of the property details is to keep the vendor happy?
Up to a point, but I think if you're a skillful agent and you can manage their expectations and say, Mr. Seller, I've deliberately not written loads of stuff on your details because I want people to come around this property. And in some respects, the less they know, they're more likely to come and see it. I mean, within reason.
What experience have you had with regard to photography?
Well, that's one of my bugbears as well, because you look at even in this day and age when the basic thing an agent should be good at is photography, and you see these these walls going like that or like that. It looks like the property's falling down. They don't use HDR, which I don't know what it stands for, but where the exposure is balanced out. You look through the window, it's all white out, and the room is underexposed. It hasn't been balanced. They haven't looked at the detail. They haven't cleared up the kitchen. For goodness sake, they haven't taken the knickers out from under the bed. And oh yeah, take a photo, you know, because supposedly it's supposed to be some sort of journalistic representation of what the place is. No, it isn't. We're trying to sell it. We're trying to make it attractive. And also massive use of wide angle as well. So that's setting yourself up for disappointment because people go in thinking it's huge and it's not.
I mean, have you been to some properties and thought to yourself, wow, it's not very big compared to the photos? You're expecting to go to a TARDIS.
Most of them, yeah, to a degree.
Do you think we as an industry go too wide with our angles?
Yeah, I think a lifestyle thing is important. All I'm looking at really to make a decision is photographs, yes, but floor plan as well. And I do like to know, interestingly, how many square feet it is, because then I can relate to how big is this place in relation to my own property, because I know how big that is. And they don't always put that on there.
What's your thoughts on property staging? I mean, have you been to any properties that have been staged?
I've been to some nice ones. Maybe they were. Ideally, I shouldn't know whether they have been or not. But I think, I see some agents, particularly overseas, who are particularly good at this. I mean, there's one agent over in New Zealand who, when you list with them, they'll give you a person for 10 days, and he'll be cleaning the carpets, regrouting the bathroom, changing light fittings, mowing the lawn, making sure the cars are always clean. For
that costs money.
Of course, it costs money. He's charging a decent level of commission.
What do you call a decent level of commission?
At least 2%. At least 2%. And I'd make sure there are fresh flowers every day, in time for the first viewings as well. And you could use that even to get listings. You can say, I hope you're not allergic to flowers, Mr. Seller. Would it be okay if we had some delivered in time for your first viewings? Could that get you the instruction for 20 quid? Absolutely.
I think it could do.
As well as upscaling the whole thing.
Why do you think I mean, I've had some people from this home staging community on the sofa, and they are perplexed why estate agents don't use them more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's their business, of course. I think there is an argument that says, a house will sell, if it's correctly priced, it's going to sell. Yes, I think that's true. But also, I'm particularly in the business of helping agents get instructions. And if an agent can say, and we'll stage your property to make it look its absolute best, that's an instruction. In fact, it's more of an instruction winner than it is anything to do with selling the house. It shows respect to the seller as well, and it's a real added value service. And a lot of these things, I mean, agents might call them their USP, unique selling proposition. I think we should remove that phrase and convert it's too selfish, and move it into the realm of what it is for the consumer. So instead of a USP, a UCB, a unique client benefit, is better than a unique selling proposition, because it's switching the emphasis.
If the market, I mean, we're filming this towards the end of spring 2022, the market could change. We're very much in a seller's market at the moment. If it turns more into a buyer's market, do you think things like staging will have a greater attraction to agents?
Possibly. Again, everything can really be addressed with price, but with good staging, if you're selling a lifestyle property, then rise to the lifestyle aspiration by enhancing the saleability in that way, for sure. Particularly in a competitive market where the agent can say, if your house is better presented than the similar one down the road, then it stands to reason that yours is going to be the one that actually sells.
Okay, so we've got brochures, great photographs, staging, but let's move on to the actual viewing itself. What sort of experience have you had with that?
I mean, agents have been very nice, a bit too nice if there is such a thing. They say, well, have a look round, take your time, and I'll just sit here. You go round again and have a look. Now, this is a house on a fairly busy road. I'm just thinking of one we saw recently on a fairly busy road, and that was a concern to us. So the agent leaves us to do our own thing. We're straight up to the bedroom and we're listening at the window, not looking at the house. I'm listening to see if there's any traffic. Now, okay.
And you're more like, if you're actively listening for it,
I'm going to hear it, absolutely. And so I'm not saying we should, of course, try and disguise anything that might potentially be a problem, but don't let, the agent should be driving this thing, not the actual buyer, for goodness sake. And there's a when I started an agency, my boss told me that today's buyers are tomorrow's sellers. And we've heard that before. And I used to ignore that. I thought, well, I'm not really interested. They're going to buy today. They might sell in 7 years' time. Bothered? Not really. I don't know what I'll be doing in 7 years' time. What he could have meant and should have meant, I don't know if he did, I don't think he did, was actually today's buyers, what are we today, Monday? Today's buyers are tomorrow, Tuesday's sellers. Because I know from my experience what I do, when we start to think about moving, we look on the portals. Oh, look, there's one. Because you want to be satisfied that your request to find something is not unreasonable before you dip your toe in the water. So you just do that exercise to see if it's unreasonable. No, it's not unreasonable. We see one there that we quite like. Actually, we really quite like it. Shall we go and have a look at it? Yeah, let's go and have a look at it. So we go and have a look at it. Guess what? Fall in love with it. And then end up making an offer, even though we're not in a strong position. We quickly have to put our own on the market. Who's in pole position to pick up our instruction? The person who showed us the property. And unless they are absolutely red hot, I'm not going to give them my instruction.
But isn't it interesting that you said a few minutes ago that people aren't even returning your calls, but you're
Exactly.
your listing?
Yeah, absolutely.
And everyone's crying out for listings.
Absolutely. I mean, the house we bought that we're currently selling, when it was for sale, the agent told us it was just about to be reduced and the seller was desperate to sell. I said, thank you very much. We made a low offer which got accepted based on the very kind information she'd given us. So I'm recommending her to everyone who's buying in our area, but not those people who are actually selling.
Okay, so you've been on the viewing. What about viewing feedback? Follow up.
Well, I mean, agents are surprisingly not actually following us up to find out how we got on.
They're not following you up?
No. On the day, we're giving them our feedback. Perhaps we're probably quite forthright with our feedback, but I know, as a seller, the other way around, I'm getting the agent's feedback, which is great, and he's saying he's not sure if they weren't keen on the garden or not, and then nothing happens. So I'm assuming they're not going to buy it because that's his opinion, and I respect. I like immediate feedback. Agents should give immediate feedback of their opinion, but to then know that the agent has indeed spoken to the buyer and tried to encourage them to make some sort of action, then that would be nice.
What about trying to close an offer, close the deal? What sort of experience have you had with that?
No one's trying to close us.
Even to try and get an offer out of you?
No one's trying to get an offer out of it. They've just shown us the property. They haven't discussed it in relation to others I've been looking at. They haven't reminded us that it's a fast-moving market and we need to act quickly.
So these are unaccompanied viewings. Are most of your viewings
Yeah,
been
accompanied viewings. Yeah, absolutely. They've been door openers. Very charming, very nice people, but no salesmanship. I'm not saying pushy. I don't believe in pushy, but I do believe in proactive, because as a buyer, their role, the agent's role, is to help buyers make a decision that's genuinely in their best interest, which without the agent's involvement, they might have had difficulty making. It's safer for me not to make a decision at all. Easier.
Is this a lack of training, development, mindset, all the above?
You've got to hire the right people. So training is the bit that I do, that's fine, but if you've got the wrong people to begin with, it's different. And it's all very well for agents to be nice, and I get that. You've kind of got to be nice. But I was doing some reading recently, really interesting book called The Challenger Sale, you may have come across. And in there, it said that most salespeople, and let's say agents, salespeople, salespeople, are good at relationship building. That's fine, as you would expect. If you ask me what's the number one thing, before reading this book, I would have said relationships. But actually, the top performers, only 7% were relationship builders. 39, and then there were problem solvers, hard workers, lone wolves, all this kind of thing. No, 39% were regarded as challengers. They took people and they said, right, this is what we're going to do. What are your thoughts? I really think you should do this. They were
asking the difficult questions.
They were putting people on the spot, perhaps. They were being a little bit more challenging. I'd recommend that book to anyone, The Challenger Sale by Brent Adamson. Yeah, it's a red book. Look for red books, you'll find it. Yeah.
Richard, that's been truly insightful. Thank you very much for that. In the next video, I'd like to talk about it from the seller's point of view as well, if that's okay. And I think the boys and girls out there in estate agency land will learn a lot from that. Thank you for your time today.
Very welcome.